Don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this. Share this video out to the world, and I thank you very much for your support. Last week, the Champa arc began, and really the true Dragon Ball Super story began last week with episode 28. This week, episode 29 of Dragon Ball Super, which is what I'm talking about here as the Champa arc continues. The episode has the longest name of any episode possibly in the history of Dragon Ball. Kakuto Shihai Kasai Kete Shusho wa Goku Yori Suyoyatsu, which translates to, it's settled. We're holding a martial arts match. The team captain's even stronger than Goku. Damn, that's long. And of course, the title refers to the impending Universe 7 versus Universe 6 tournament, which will determine the fate of planet Earth. Will Earth be moved to Universe 6 so that Champa can have cup noodles forever? Or will Beerus get the Super Dragon Balls and wish for, who knows, probably food? We'll find out. Anyways, episode 29 pretty much starts right where episode 28 left off, which is Beerus, Whis, Champa, Vados, Goku, and Vegeta in that dining room. They're talking about the tournament and what they're going to do, with it being 5-on-5 and whatnot. Vados and Champa leave to go get the Super Dragon Balls and to build the tournament arena on this planet that has craters. Now, this planet is supposed to be a neutral planet, and I'm a little bit confused about this because I'm not really sure how that planet's supposed to exist in between the two universes, but it's pretty much just a craterless planet, I guess, with no life form, so that's why it's neutral. So they head out over there, and then meanwhile, Goku and Vegeta take off their weighted training garbs and then put a big hole in the ground. Vegeta says, of course, he wants to be number one, even above Beerus and Champa. Now, then we go back to Earth. So Beerus, Whis, Goku, and Vegeta go back to Earth to meet up with BULLA. I'm not sure if they teleported there or if Whis did his little travel thing. And Whis, because they're asking BULLA about these Super Dragon Balls and how they need to find the last one. Whis talks about how, you know, they ask Bulma for help, and Bulma's like, well, we can make a dragon radar, but she doesn't think that the dragon radar can find them. So Vegeta grabs the dragon radar and flies off because what he plans to do, or what they really plan to do, is to summon the dragon and ask the Earth Dragon where that last Dragon Ball is. What they basically did here, guys, is they took Chapter 2 or Chapter 3 of the Toyotaro manga and expanded upon it big time. So Vegeta takes the Dragon Radar and flies off to go find the Dragon Ball. So that begins my first major con of this episode. I enjoyed the episode, but there's a major timeline problem here, which I'm going to talk about momentarily, but remember that. Remember, he grabbed the Dragon Radar to find the Dragon Balls. Now, the Resurrection F arc just ended a couple of weeks ago on television, but we now have confirmed that this part of the story is 1 year afterward, and it has to be 1 year afterward because the Dragon Balls were used to resurrect Frieza, and then Pilaf and company made the remaining wishes. So it has to be 1 year for the Dragon Balls to recharge. So since that event, you can take Frieza's training however you want, 6 months or whatever, 4 months, depending on what version you watch, if you even want to count the movie. And this episode takes place this arc takes place 6 months after Frieza was defeated, at the very least. Remember that, though, because that's going to tie into a problem that I have with this episode coming up. So we cut to Vados and Champa, and they go to this crater planet, and Vados creates the tournament arena. And again, this is very much like when Cell did it, but a hell of a lot better, hell of a lot more skilled. She's doing her little Minecraft gimmick, and she creates the arena for the tournament, for the Universe 6 versus Universe 7 tournament. And it's funny because Champa names the planet the Nameless Planet. He calls it Nameless Planet, and he feels very proud of himself for that. So, because Champa's awesome. So she creates this arena, and you see two big pictures of Beerus and Champa. Meanwhile, Champa's eating. The one thing about this episode, the one theme about this episode is eating. Everybody's freaking eating food here, okay? Beerus and Champa are constantly chowing down throughout this entire episode, and it's pretty damn awesome. I mean, hell, this whole tournament's over food, right? Okay. Cut back to Earth. Bulma summons the dragon. Again, has to be at least a year since Frieza's resurrection. This is the beginning of the contradiction here. So, try to follow me on this one, okay? Now, the Dragon Ball Super timeline has been a mess from day one. We all know that. But if we were to count the timeline from the manga and from the previous sources as well as the films, we know that BULLA, a.k.a. Bra, which is Vegeta and Bulma's second kid, was born in age 780. Now, I know some of you people might be watching my video who are casual Dragon Ball fans who forgot that BULLA is in the manga and is not just a GT character. So before somebody writes in the comment section, Bra's non-canon, you're wrong. She's in the freaking manga, okay? She's at the last chapter of the manga, last 3 episodes of Dragon Ball Z. If you don't believe me, go back and watch them. Anyways, she's supposed to be born in age 780. We knew, and I did a video about how old is BULLA and why she's not in Super, and we knew that Bulma, during the Resurrection F arc or the Resurrection F movie, should have either been pregnant or should have already had Bra, and Bra is nowhere to be found. This is a major contradiction, and what adds to that contradiction is that Bulma at the end of Dragon Ball, the manga end of Dragon Ball Z, tells Goku, I haven't seen you in 5 years. If this timeline matches up with the birth of Pan and with the timeline from the Battle of Gods movie, which is essentially Battle of Gods, the movie is 4 years after the death of Kid Buu, and then you add another year for the Resurrection F, then we're talking about age 780 essentially, which is the year Bulma should have been born. So again, this is a major contradiction. This contradicts. It is a plot hole, and if you get mad about that, that's your problem. I'm not the one who wrote this thing. That is a plot hole. I'm hoping that maybe Bulma was born, and that maybe it was one of those things where it happened within like the time skip after Resurrection F, and they haven't revealed her yet. I am hoping for that, but I really have my doubts. Once again, the timeline in Dragon Ball Super is a complete mess, and you cannot ignore this. You cannot ignore this. That being said, I still enjoyed the episode. Let me get back to my recap of the episode. Just remember that, though, guys. The timeline is fucked, all right? Unless something changes, Toriyama rewrites it, which I'm not going to be happy about, or if Bulma actually is born, this whole thing is fucked. Anyways, the dragon freaks out when he sees Beerus, and they ask him, you know, how do you find the last Super Dragon Ball? The dragon says that the universe is way too vast for him to be able to find that Super Dragon Ball. And then Whis is like, well, that's the Earth Dragon Ball limitation. And then Shenlong is like, do you have another wish? And then Beerus goes, gets lost. It's so funny. Beerus goes, yeah, get lost. That's my wish. Dragon says, peace, and disappears. This is one of the best Beerus moments ever, yo. Yeah, get lost. That's my other wish. Asshole. No, but so Bulma wants to create a super dragon radar. And once again, they summon the dragon, and I'm not sure if this counts as a wish. Because the dragon said, do you have another wish? I guess asking the dragon about the Super Dragon Balls does count as a wish. So the dragon has 2 wishes left. The Dragon Balls dissipate. So that, of course, means that the dragon won't be back for, you know, another a third of a year or whatever, 4 months. I did a video. If anybody watching this is confused about the Dragon Balls and how many wishes you get, I did a video called The History of the Dragon Balls, Dragon Ball In-Depth 10. Go check out that video on my channel if you want to know more about like the Dragon Ball wishes. There is some confusion there. Just understand the Dragon Ball wishes are also very inconsistent, okay? So, moving on. Champa and Vados have a conversation. He wants to find himself some Saiyajin. And those of you who have read the Dragon Ball Super manga, you already know who that is. And we get an awesome shot of Beerus and Whis at Capsule Corp eating once again. Beerus, of course, mentions people who are stronger than Goku and the fighting, and Goku is, of course, very excited. Bulma then, of course, finishes the Super Dragon Radar. Somehow, Bulma can create a radar that can detect objects in deep space, even though she hasn't been there. How can she do this? Who the hell knows? But I'm not going to be mad at that. I'm just going to say that, hey, Bulma's very, very smart, and it's cool. I can sleep at night with that one, all right? Oh, and one more thing I actually forgot to mention, guys, that I thought was really, really funny, that when the dragon leaves, Goku is like, did I forget something? Oh, yeah, I forgot to wish Kaio back to life, and then King Kai's looking very upset. He's like, damn it. I thought it was funny as hell. And by the way, Bulma actually points out the plot holes. She actually points out the plot holes in this episode, right? And she was told, shut up. We just want to fight. I think It's utterly hilarious that this show is aware of the plot holes. Yes, they bother me still. Okay, but I think it's funny how they're so self-aware that they actually told her to shut up. She, of course, is playing the part of us. So anyways, Bulma, okay, so let me get back to the recap. So Whis and Beerus, they leave to go find Monaka. And if you've read the Dragon Ball Super manga, you know who that is. The nipple guy who they claim is the most powerful guy that Beerus has ever fought. Then Bulma makes a phone call to her sister. And she tells Goku and Vegeta, I'm going to call my sister. And Vegeta and Goku, shocked, again, playing the part of the audience, are shocked. And this is so funny because Vegeta has been her husband now for like, how long? How many years? Like 10? Something like that, like 10 years. And Goku has been her best friend since he was a kid. And they didn't know she had a sister. Those of you who have read Jocko the Galactic Patrolman, you know about Tights, Bulma's sister. And if you have not read that, go read it. The manga Toriyama put out in 2013. So anyways, Bulma calls Tights, who's out on a beach somewhere. And of course, the big thing is Tights is supposed to be about, I don't know, what, like 10, 12 years older than Bulma. But yeah, she looks young as hell. All right, whatever. This whole thing is a mess. But it's animation, all right? Who cares? So then Tights calls Jocko to try to get some information. And we haven't heard Zuno yet, but that's where they're going with it. Those of you who read manga chapter, 6, you remember the story about Zuno. So the reason why they need Jocko is because the Super Dragon Radar has to be... Okay, so it has a range. It has a limited range. So they got to get Jocko's ship. Now, I guess Jocko's ship's technology is way more advanced than anything that Capsule Corp can build at this point. So they just figure it's faster than having Dr. Briefs and Bulma build a new ship. So... Again, Tights calls Jocko, and Jocko's like, oh, well, you know, I'm busy and doing Galactic Patrol business when he's actually just goofing off, playing with stones or whatever on some mountain or some shit. And, of course, she mentions Goku and Vegeta, which, of course, freak him out for several reasons. Those of you who have read Jocko the Galactic Patrolman, you know that in Jocko, he was supposed to stop baby Goku from coming to Earth. And he failed the mission, obviously, right? And so he doesn't want the Galactic Patrol to find out that Goku even exists, even though I have a feeling that they will eventually. But, of course, with Frieza being gone and the entire planet of Vegeta being gone, then they have nothing to worry about at this point. But still, it's like a running joke. If you read Jocko, you know. Anyways, the episode pretty much ends with Whis and Beerus going to go find Monaka. Next week... Basically, from what I understand, next week is going to be Goku and Vegeta recruiting the people for the tournament. We actually find Gohan, and this is the clip that all the Gohan fans are going to be happy to see. Gohan is training his ass off with Piccolo just like the old days. Now, I don't know how strong they could possibly get, but still, the fact that Gohan's putting the effort in is good. He's wearing his green tracksuit still, training with Piccolo. That's next week. So, my final thoughts... The cons are the timeline's all jacked up, and I'm really pissed off about it. Bra can no longer exist unless she was born, and they haven't shown her yet. They might be doing some kind of little secret reveal. And that's pretty much it as far as the con goes. The pro is lots of world building in this episode, really great animation, amazing backgrounds, amazing animation, amazing backgrounds. Visually, it looked incredible, just really, really the best art that you could possibly get for Dragon Ball standards is here. Not to mention the animation was top notch. Everybody looked great. Those are the pros, and also the moments with Goku and his interactions with Beerus and Whis and Bulma, just the characters and Champa. The characters are lively, and Dragon Ball Super continues 2 weeks in a row of good episodes. I'm going to hope that that stupid freaking BULLA thing gets fixed. Maybe she is born. Who knows what the hell is going to happen. I'm hoping she is. But anyways, let me know your thoughts below if you've seen the episode already. Let me know. Did you like the episode? Did you not like it? I'm sure that next week will be interesting to see what Gohan has been up to with Piccolo. But we'll find out then. Anyways, thanks for checking out my review, and I will catch you down the road.